Ever wondered how to grow the juiciest tomatoes in your neighborhood? Well, there's an art to it, a symphony of soil, sun, and a little TLC that results in those plump, sun-kissed beauties. Homegrown tomatoes are a world apart from their store-bought counterparts. They're not just food, they're a labor of love, a testament to patience and care. Anticipate the journey we're about to embark on, filled with expert tips, step-by-step guides, and common pitfalls to avoid. Stay tuned to uncover the secrets of growing juicy tomatoes. Hear it from the pros. We've got seasoned gardeners and experienced farmers who've mastered the art of growing tomatoes that are not only vibrant and robust but also incredibly juicy. Let's dive into their top tips for tomato cultivation. Meet Farmer Joe. With over 3 decades of farming under his belt, he swears by soil preparation. According to him, the secret to a juicy tomato starts in the soil. One has to ensure that it is well drained, rich in organic matter, and has a slightly acidic pH. The soil is where the magic starts. Next up, we have gardener Grace. She has been growing tomatoes in her backyard for more than 20 years. Grace emphasizes the importance of choosing the right tomato varieties. She says, not all tomatoes are created equal. Some are naturally juicier, sweeter, and more flavorful than others. It's crucial to select a variety that thrives in your climate and meets your taste preference. And let's not forget about planting Pete. He's a local legend for his tomato planting techniques. Pete stresses, planting tomatoes isn't just about digging a hole and dropping in a seed. You need to plant them deep, provide ample space between plants for good air circulation, and ensure they get at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight daily. Finally, we have horticulturist Hannah. She's an expert in plant diseases and pests. Hannah advises, prevention is always better than cure. Regularly inspect your plants for any signs of disease or pests. If you spot anything unusual, act quickly to prevent it from spreading. Each of these experts brings years of experience and a wealth of knowledge. They've shared their insights and secrets, showing us that growing juicy tomatoes isn't as hard as you may think. It's about understanding your soil, choosing the right varieties, planting correctly, and being vigilant about disease and pests. So why not give it a shot? With these expert tips, you'll be well on your way to growing the juiciest tomatoes in your neighborhood. As the experts have shared, growing juicy tomatoes isn't as hard as you may think. Ready to get your hands dirty? Here's how. Let's kick things off with soil preparation. The secret to growing juicy tomatoes starts from the ground up. You'll want to opt for a well-draining loamy soil with a pH level of 6 to 7. Add organic compost to enrich the soil with essential nutrients. You can also mix in a slow-release fertilizer to give your tomatoes a healthy start. Next, it's planting time. Choose a sunny location, as tomatoes need at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight a day. Dig a hole that's deep enough to cover 2/3 of your tomato seedling. Pop the seedling in, cover it with soil, and water it well. Remember, tomatoes are thirsty plants, so you'll need to water them regularly, especially in dry conditions. Once your tomato plants start to grow, it's time to stake them. Staking keeps the plants upright, helps maximize sun exposure, and prevents diseases that can occur when fruits touch the ground. You can use wooden stakes, metal cages, or even a trellis. Just make sure it's sturdy enough to support your growing tomatoes. Last, but certainly not least, comes pruning. Pruning helps direct the plant's energy towards producing fruit rather than excess foliage. To prune, simply remove the small shoots that sprout in the crotch between the main stem and the branches. Be careful not to over-prune though, as the leaves are necessary for photosynthesis. There you have it. A simple yet effective guide to growing your own juicy tomatoes right in your backyard. It might seem like a lot to take in, but don't worry. With a little practice, you'll become a tomato growing pro in no time. Remember, every tomato plant is unique and might require different care. Don't be afraid to experiment and see what works best in your garden. After all, gardening is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. With these steps, you're well on your way to growing your own tomatoes. Want to see a tomato plant's journey from seed to fruit? Let's embark on a fascinating time-lapse journey. Picture this, a tiny seed nestled in the soil, sprouting its first delicate roots and shoots. Over days it grows, reaching for the sunlight, each leaf a testament to nature's tenacity. As days turn into weeks, we see the plant strengthen and grow taller. The first flower buds appear, like little yellow stars against the green foliage. Each bud is a promise of a tomato yet to come. And then, the magic happens. The flowers bloom and fade, and in their place, tiny green orbs start to form. These orbs, small and hard at first, grow larger, softer, and start to blush with color. From green to yellow, and finally to a vibrant mouth-watering red. Isn't it amazing to see how a tiny seed transforms into a juicy tomato? Growing tomatoes isn't always a walk in the park. Here are some common issues and how to tackle them. First up, there's the notorious blossom end rot. This is when your tomatoes develop a dark sunken spot on their underside. It's caused by a lack of calcium in the soil or irregular watering. The solution? Regularly test your soil's calcium levels and maintain a consistent watering schedule. If your soil is lacking in calcium, consider adding some limestone or gypsum. Next, we have the leaf curl. This is when your tomato plant's leaves start to curl upward. It's often caused by inconsistent weather conditions, like fluctuating temperatures or wind. The good news is, leaf curl doesn't usually affect the plant's fruit production, but if you want to prevent it, try to shield your plants from the wind and keep them in a consistent temperature. Then there's the infamous tomato hornworm. These large green caterpillars love to munch on your tomato plant's leaves and fruit, but don't worry, you can manage them. If you spot one, simply remove it by hand. To prevent future infestations, consider introducing beneficial insects, like ladybugs or parasitic wasps, who love to feed on hornworms. Another common issue is cracked tomatoes. This happens when the fruit grows too quickly, causing the skin to crack. Usually, it's due to inconsistent watering. The solution is simple. Keep a consistent watering schedule and mulch around your plants to retain moisture. Last but not least, we have yellow leaves. This is often a sign of nutrient deficiency, usually nitrogen, but it could also indicate overwatering. To fix this, you might need to adjust your watering schedule or add a nitrogen-rich fertilizer to your soil. Remember, every problem has a solution. Don't let these issues deter you from growing your own tomatoes. Don't take our word for it, hear from others who've successfully grown juicy tomatoes. First up, meet Sarah, a city dweller turned urban gardener. I never believed I could actually grow anything on my small balcony, but guess what? Now, I have a thriving tomato plant that gives me the juiciest tomatoes I've ever tasted. And here's Jake, a seasoned gardener who found new success with our tips. I thought I knew everything about growing tomatoes, but these tricks, they've taken my harvest to a whole new level. My tomatoes are now the talk of the town. Let's not forget Lisa, a first-time gardener. I was so nervous about starting my first garden, but the step-by-step guides made everything so much easier. I followed them to the letter, and voila! I've got tomatoes that are the envy of my friends. Then there's Carlos, who's battled with pests for years. I was about to give up on tomato gardening, the pests were just too much, but the solutions offered here, they've been a game changer. My tomatoes are now pest-free and more bountiful than ever. Last but not least, let's hear from Amy, a busy mom who managed to grow amazing tomatoes despite her hectic schedule. I didn't think I had the time to maintain a garden, but the time-saving tips shared here have made it possible for me to grow the best tomatoes right in my backyard. See? You too can achieve these results. Ready to grow your own juicy tomatoes? We've shared some incredible secrets today that can turn your gardening dreams into reality. Remember, it all starts with selecting the right variety and preparing your soil well. Don't underestimate the power of staking and pruning, and be sure to keep an eye out for those common mistakes we discussed. Imagine stepping into your garden and picking sun-kissed, dew-drenched tomatoes right off the vine. They're not just any tomatoes. They're your tomatoes grown with your own hands in your own garden. That's the magic of gardening, the joy of nurturing something from a tiny seed into a juicy, delicious fruit. So why wait? Apply these tips, get your hands dirty, and start growing your own juicy tomatoes today. You've got the knowledge, now it's time to put it into action. Start your tomato growing journey today. Don't forget to subscribe for more gardening secrets.